What's going on, guys? Just out here doing a little bit of scouting for turkey season, and I just love this time of year, just scouring every inch of your property and being able to see what the deer were doing throughout the last years in areas normally wouldn't go into, and looking for sheds and all that jazz. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about I had kind of kept coming back to this one spot on the farm that I was hunting the perimeters of and seeing a lot of deer come out of, and I knew there was one tree back here that would be just ridiculous setup. And it's a really cool tree. I mean, it's one of those bunch of branches and stuff where you can hide in really well. That's a side note. If you're picking out a tree stand tree, always try and find something that has forks or multiple branches or trees kind of clustered together. You can hide a lot better. But I was looking at the spot, and I even put my steps in and kind of got prepped for next year on this spot. And the more I thought about it, the more I looked at it, I realized it's probably one of the best spots in the entire farm, and I'll probably never be able to hunt it. It sets up really well. It's on the transition in between the bed and food. I got bed, just 100 yards that direction, which would be pretty tight, but you could get in. And food out behind me, right behind me here, you can see the opening is a clover staging area, and then on past that will be 3 acres of corn, standing corn, and 1 acre of brassicas. And it's just sort of a staging area that they transition out of bed and head back towards food. But the more I looked at this again, I just can't get to it. The only way to really hunt it would be to come in across the food in the like afternoon and hunt it as an evening set, and then you're still kind of screwed though, because you can't get out. I can't walk through the food again, and there's no way to really get around the food to be able to access out of here then. So I have found, there's always seemingly one of these spots on a property that looks so good, and the deer in there, there's sign everywhere. I mean, there's a scrape line right along through here, and you can see the deer are hugging this downwind edge of the food and heading out there in the evenings, and sets up perfectly. But again, you can't access it, so that means you can't hunt it. It's so hard to not want to come in and hunt these areas, but I have seen time and time again, you just consistently will bump deer getting in and out of these areas. Now, I will say, that's not to say that I won't, middle of November, my tag isn't filled yet, and, you're getting desperate, whatever, there's a chance you might try it then, but you have to know that you're going to do a lot of damage if you do not end up getting your buck. And so for that reason, I tend to just hunt the edges, the perimeter, the stuff that I can get in and out of easily. As I began to hunt older and older deer, I've just seen how easily these deer pick up on pressure. It kind of blew my mind. Even the fact of, you see a lot of these shows where these guys are walking out the middle of the green fields to get to their evening spots, and it's, that's all well and fine maybe in Iowa, but here in Ohio, where there's a lot more deer pressure and where I think the majority of people are hunting, you can't do that. I mean, you're leaving, even with, scent-free rubber boots, you're leaving scent coming across that field. And I have seen deer, these mature deer, these 5, 6, 7-year-old deer, they're smelling that, 12 hours later, and they know you're there. And that begins to affect movement long term when you're accessing in and out of your property. And so, I have opted to, an ideal situation is you're running your perimeter, and even better, you're running a creek. And that's, you're able, like on this situation, I can access the entire length of the property in a creek where, they're not going to smell you. And that's what I love about that access, and I may as well stick with that and just hunt, hunt the perimeters. And, there's definitely ways to sweeten up a spot to, hunt those edges. But to come in back here, and this is the literal center of the property. There's so few areas that you can blow your scent then. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult to hunt this. So again, just kind of wanted to throw that out there. You probably got one of those spots in your property that, you want to hunt so badly, but it's going to be, at the very least, you want to be waiting till middle towards end of rut where you're, ready to just go all in on a deer before, gun season or something like that. So hope you got something out of this video, and leave a comment, like, and subscribe to the video, and we'll see you in the next one.